Once again, y'all know what we here for the Cap 20, main takeaways from the Warriors' 20th week of the regular season, so we move. I haven't been talking about Steph a whole lot just because I was never really worried about him. Yeah, I had questions, but I never doubted whether or not he still had this version of himself left in him. Like with him, what's understood don't gotta be explained. But two things I've been wanting him to do better at, and he's been doing it ever since the Jimmy Butler trade, is passing and finishing. And to be specific, I'm talking about passing out of showing, hedging, and blitzing type of coverages. Pretty much any coverage that puts two on the ball. Steph has done a good job not turning the ball over. Pre-Jimmy Butler, I felt like I saw way too many possessions where Steph just had passes tipped and he wasn't really handling the pressure of those coverages very well. Like I remember this one possession where we played Houston in the NBA Cup. They blitzed Steph off a ball screen and Steph literally threw a pass behind his head. I couldn't believe that he would do something like that. And to be honest, it makes sense considering the shooting threat that he is, but also the size that he is as well. He is 6'3", and he's dealing with bigs that are 7 feet or bigger, aggressively coming at him, along with an on-ball defender that's inflicting a ton of ball pressure that's probably quick and active. Getting the pass off to an outlet is very difficult in those type of situations, but credit to Steph because he's been throwing dimes, where for the last 10 games or so, ever since Jimmy Butler came to this team, every pass out of a trap has been sharp. Secondly, Steph looks like he's getting back to finishing at a relatively high level. Here's the thing, we'll never have to worry about his shooting if he goes on some weird shooting slump. What we need to be concerned about is whether or not he can get downhill and finish at the basket, because that was a big part of why he was so hard to guard ever since his prime all the way until now. Teams overplay his shot and he can drive to the rim and finish with a soft touch over the rim protector. And as of recently, he's not only finishing very well with his floaters, finger rolls, and runners, but he's also looking to take contact at the rim. That's something that Steph wasn't eager to do early in the season. But as of right now, I'm glad that he's comfortable with finishing at the rim, because for Steph to be that number one guy, it's not about whether or not he can shoot, it's about his finishing ability. Can he beat his man off the dribble and get into the lane and decelerate and have the touch to finish over the big man? That is what's going to put Steph at a championship level number one option type of player. Jimmy Butler has been making very good use on his baseline drives this season, or at least with the Warriors. He's creating very well where he catches the ball in the mid post and then rips the basketball going baseline and either scoring or making a read. He's been creating shots and setting guys up to score when doing this. If he doesn't have a shot at the rim, his first read is usually a hammer pass. So this is the guy that's usually chilling in the corner. This could be QP, this could be Moody, this could be Buddy. Once he locates the open man, he can make strong and accurate passes to where the shooter doesn't have to do much to get his shot off. The second read is usually a slot/45 cut. So this is where if there's a 2-on-1 on the weak side and you have a shooter in the corner and the guy right next to him on the wing cuts to the basket. This is a harder read to make just because there's usually a lot of traffic packed underneath the rim, but Jimmy can absolutely make the pass if it's open. And the last one is just a simple dump off. Since Jimmy is so good at playing off of 2 feet and selling his ball fakes, the defense has to honor that to where the center might be open in the paint. So this is where if you see, for an example, if somebody's in the dunker spot and Jimmy drives baseline and they flash right to the middle of the paint, that's where the dump off is usually going to be. All of the passing reads that I just listed are great. However, things would be better if the Warriors extended these plays with more concepts. We obviously talked about the 45 cuts, but something I want to see more is just baseline cuts. The reason why is because when you drive baseline, if you're a shooter in the corner defender that chooses to guard the shooter will usually turn his head and look at the ball because he's anticipating the pass. And in that split second window, that's your opportunity to get above your defender, meaning you get off his line, away from the baseline, and cut right past him. Another thing is relocating. Sometimes the pass isn't directly open in the corner, so instead you need to shake and give Jimmy a better passing angle over the top. Or let's say you're at the 45/wing area and you need to drift towards the baseline. All of this makes it easier for the passer to have a clear target to pass. And lastly, I would like to see some sort of screening action to maximize these baseline creations. Some sort of hammer screen, pin-in screen, flare screen, whatever it is, I think it's worth tapping into because Jimmy constantly gets to that position so many times to where we gotta make the most out of it. And if he successfully creates out of that enough times, defenses might force him away from the baseline, and that's gonna play into our hands. Jimmy is such a gifted passer that he can make any kind of pass. He can make mid-air decisions where he can look guys off and try to shift the defense away from where he wants to pass. And I just think doing whatever we can to get the best shot in those situations will elevate our offense tremendously. Moses Moody has been absolutely flourishing as a starter. What's the record when he's starting? It's like 16-1 or something, right? Offensively, he's been doing the same thing that he's been doing all season. The difference now is that he has consistent PT and Jimmy's doing a good job elevating his game and slotting him to a more simplified role. His shooting as of this week and last week hasn't been great. That's the only downside, but finishing has been great. Even the passing to some degree has been better, but what we gotta talk about is the defense. Now, Moody has been given a lot of the POA assignments. He was given the Cam Thomas role in Brooklyn. He was given the Cade Cunningham role. He was given the PG role when we played Philly. He was given the Jalen Brunson role. He's been matched up against so many guys, Anthony Simons as well, and I don't consider Moody a top POA defender for reasons that I'll explain in a little bit, but what he does incredibly well is inflicting length at the POA. 7-foot wingspan, and he's been disrupting the handle of everyone he's guarding. Like, I'm not even lying, these guys that he's guarding are phenomenal ball handlers. These are some of the best guys in the world where you don't normally see them lose the ball like that. But Moody, he's either taking the ball from them or knocking it away and blowing up the offense. And he's not doing it like GP2. GP2 does bother people's handles, but he does it in a way where he allows the offensive player to drive right past him, and then he times a steal. Moses Moody will sit in front of you, and he'll sit down in his stance, he'll hinge at his hips, and he'll time your crossovers and literally steal the ball right in front of you. He's legitimately bothering the handle of some of the best guards in the league, to the point where it's like, you gotta be careful dribbling around him. He had like 3 steals in the Detroit game, and they were all on the ball. It's actually really great to see that he can make plays like this defensively. But with that being said, his perimeter foot speed is toasted, y'all. He can't stay in front of people, man. Guys blow right past him easily, and it leads to our defense being in rotation. Like, dog, he has such a good foundation for defense. Got good size and effort, but he can't slide them puppies, man. He doesn't beat guys to a spot either. Once he gets blown by, he has no chance of recovering. And it's even worse with him chasing guys off the ball. Anthony Simons literally ran off like 11 straight in the third quarter because Moody kept being one step behind at chasing him around off-ball screens. This is where I think executing sharp ice coverage can help prevent these issues, to where he can open up and shade the offensive player to one side. That way he doesn't have to worry about recovering back to his own man on a blow-by. But other than that, Moody is showing that he can potentially be the best POA defender on this team. Obviously, JK is looking to be in contention for that title as well, but I think Moody actually has more potential. If he can find a way to fix his perimeter speed issue, he will be a great player where we can put him on a quick guard. A guy like Darius Garland, a guy like Anthony Edwards, even a guy like SGA. And obviously, he's not going to clamp these guys all together, but he can be somebody that we feel comfortable putting on the other team's best player. But as of right now, he's got something great going on. It's just he needs to tap into it and finish the product.